Have you ever stopped to consider that the world isn't a loose mess, but an exact reflection of what you believe? Look at your life right now. Every detail, from chance encounters to seemingly unfair delays, is a reflection of your internal assumptions. Most people think luck falls from the sky, like a cosmic roulette wheel. But I tell you, life doesn't happen to you. It responds to you. If you see yourself as small, the world shrinks you. If you see yourself as large, it makes room for your size. Everything you experience begins within you. It's as if you were carrying an invisible mirror, and it reflects back in circumstances what you hold in your consciousness. That's why, when you think of luck as an accident, you are placing yourself as a victim of the unpredictable. But when you understand that luck is a reflection, you go from being a victim to an author. Nothing is neutral. Life reflects the tone you choose to take. And most importantly, you can change the reflection by changing yourself. Today, you will take another step in your awakening and begin to experience the life you truly deserve. But before continuing, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the messages that can transform your life. Many people ask, so why does it never work for me? Why is something always missing? And I answer, because you assume failure is natural. You wake up expecting obstacles, and that's why they come. You walk around expecting rejection, and that's why it repeats itself. The world only follows silent orders that you yourself give. The universe isn't unfair, it's precise. It reflects what you've already decreed as your normal. Imagine an actor standing in front of a mirror. If he puts on a sad mask, the reflection returns sadness. If he puts on a happy mask, the reflection smiles. It's not the mirror that decides, it's the face you offer it. Life works the same way. If you present yourself with a mask of scarcity, the reflection is lack. If you wear a posture of abundance, the reflection is provision. The law is simple. Life cannot deny what you insist on carrying inside. I want you to understand this. There is no such thing as luck against you. What exists are faithful reflections of your inner state. Even the delays, even the no's you receive, are echoes of your deepest beliefs. And when you change that state, the echoes change. Doors that were closed begin to open. People who ignored you begin to notice you. Reality bows to your new stance because the mirror has no choice but to obey. Now, pay attention. The reflection never comes before the expression. You can't expect to smile after the mirror smiles. You need to smile first. That's life. It's no use saying, I'll believe it when I see it. You'll only see it when you believe it. It's the reversal of order that liberates. It's not the world that determines your state. It's your state that organizes the world. That's the law of assumption in action, and it never fails. And here's the secret. Everything starts small, but everything starts now. The simple act of accepting within yourself that you are favored already changes the atmosphere around you. Life responds in signs, in details, in synchronicities, not because it decided to give you a chance, but because you decided to see yourself differently. The outside world is not a judge, it's only a mirror. It has no morals, no opinion, no will of its own. It only gives back. So I ask you, what are you choosing to put in front of that mirror today? Are you carrying fear and receiving fear? Are you carrying scarcity and reaping scarcity? Or are you willing to stand up now in this very moment and accept that life is on your side? Because if you do that, the reflection changes. And it doesn't take 10 years. The change begins the instant you change within. The world is just a mirror. And it's already ready to reflect your new identity. Have you noticed that some people seem to carry an invisible magnet? Good things just happen to them. A job appears, an opportunity arises, an unexpected encounter changes everything. Most people look and say, how lucky. But I tell you, it's not luck, it's expectation. These people expect the best, and that's why the best finds them. They don't beg life, they walk around already convinced that life conspires in their favor. The lucky one isn't the one who receives more than others, but the one who expects more than others. While most wake up thinking about problems, he wakes up with the certainty that something good is about to happen. That certainty changes his tone of voice, his gaze, his presence. The anticipation is silent but powerful. It's like an invisible password that opens doors others don't even realize exist. And you might think, but I want that too. How do I do it? And my answer: start by changing your expectations. You don't need to pretend everything is perfect, but you do need to carry within you the conviction that, even on difficult days, life is preparing something for your good. This conviction prevents you from despairing in the face of a delay, nor giving in to fear in the face of rejection. You expect the best, and the best finds its way to you. Observe how you've been expecting things. Do you expect them to go wrong? Do you expect something to be missing? Do you expect rejection? Then don't be surprised when those experiences repeat themselves. Expectation is a silent decree you send out into life. It doesn't lie, it doesn't fail. It simply fulfills the command you gave it. And if the command is, "Things are going to turn out well for me," then that's what begins to take shape. Lucky people are no different from you. They carry only one unshakable belief. Life is on my side. They don't need proof to believe because they know proof comes after belief. That's the order most people don't understand. Doubters say, "When I see it, I'll believe it." But the lucky ones say, "I believe it, and that's why I'm going to see it." Belief comes first, evidence comes later. Have you ever noticed that those who expect bad news always receive it? Those who live distrustfully of betrayals always discover them. Those who live repeating that they have no luck always stumble upon the same obstacles. That's not bad luck. It's the power of expectation in motion. You are creating in every moment, even if you don't realize it. Your expectation is like a compass. It points you in the direction your life will take. And I want you to understand this. Expectation isn't just a thought, it's a state. It's the way you walk, talk, and look. If you expect rejection, you walk into places cowering. If you expect acceptance, you walk in with presence. Life responds to the energy you emit, not the words you repeat. The lucky one doesn't need to say, "I'm lucky." It's conveyed in their way of being. So tell me, what are you waiting for now? Are you waiting for life to fail you one more time? Or are you waiting for it to finally open its doors? Because therein lies the secret. What you expect, you attract. If you change your expectation, you change your destiny. And that's what differentiates someone who lives seeking proof from someone who lives reaping miracles. The fortunate one is not the chosen one of chance, but the chosen one of their own conscience. Have you ever tried to fake confidence? Fake joy? Pretend you're okay when you're broken inside? We've all been there. But the truth is, pretending only reinforces the lack. When you pretend you're lucky, your body screams absence. Your heart knows you're lying. The energy you emit betrays that you don't believe. And life, which always responds to your inner state, returns exactly what you're being. A faker of your own luck. The difference lies in incorporating. Incorporating isn't pretending. It's embracing as true what hasn't yet appeared outside. It's walking like someone who already has, even before touching it with their hands. It's living like someone who has already received, before hearing the news. It's not theater. It's a state. And when you incorporate, the body relaxes, the mind quiets, the gaze changes. You stop forcing and begin to radiate. To pretend is to knock desperately on the door. To incorporate is to sit at the table as if you were already invited. To pretend is to repeat phrases without conviction, waiting for something external to confirm. To incorporate is to speak from the inside out, with the certainty that it already exists. The world senses the difference. A person who pretends needs to convince. A person who incorporates doesn't have to prove anything. Their mere presence is convincing. Think of someone who pretends to be rich. They spend more than they can afford, try to impress, force external signals. Now think of someone who has incorporated wealth. They don't need to boast, aren't afraid of losing, walk calmly, make decisions with confidence. It's the same contrast between pretending and incorporating. The first posture attracts debt, scarcity, and fear. The second attracts open doors, confidence, and fluidity. When you begin to incorporate, something invisible shifts. People notice it without understanding why. Opportunities appear where you least expect them. And it's not because you pretended for others. It's because you changed the reflection within yourself. Life doesn't respond to your masks. It responds to your state. And when your state is coherence, there's no way the world can resist. It bends, but I know the temptation to pretend is great. The world teaches you to pretend until you make it. Only that keeps you trapped in lack. Because all pretense is a reminder that you don't believe. Incorporating, on the other hand, is closing the door to doubt. It's saying, "It's mine now," and living from there. The body believes it, the mind believes it, the energy believes it. It's a silent faith that needs no applause. And you might ask, how do I incorporate it? Start with small gestures. If you want luck, wake up in the morning giving thanks as if it's already happened. If you want abundance, make your decisions as if you already have it. If you want love, treat yourself as if you're already loved. Don't wait for external proof. Bring the proof inward. Because the moment you feel it, it's already yours. Pretending is backwardness. Incorporating is a shortcut. Pretending is empty. Incorporating is fulfillment. And life never responds to what you desire, but to what you incorporate. So stop wasting energy trying to pretend. Start spending energy being, not for others, but for yourself. Because the day you truly embody the identity of someone favored, blessed, and fortunate, the world will have no choice but to recognize the new version of you. Was everything in the world imagined beforehand? This room, these chairs, this microphone. Before becoming material, they were an idea in someone's mind. The brain is like a silent magician. It transforms the invisible into the visible, the abstract into the concrete. And the trick isn't secret, it's law. The subconscious mind doesn't distinguish imagination from reality. For it, what you experience intensely inside is already true. When you imagine with emotion, you are planting seeds in the soil of consciousness. Each repeated image is an instruction that life obeys. It's like programming an invisible code that, sooner or later, manifests itself. The problem is that most people imagine misfortunes. They spend nights rehearsing tragedies, predicting failures, anticipating rejections. And guess what? Those scenes take shape, not out of punishment, but out of obedience to the law. But what if you use that same power to create a different scenario? What if instead of rehearsing losses, you rehearsed victories? What if instead of reliving old pains, you began to live new conquests within your mind? That's not illusion. That's construction. You're not running away from reality. You're molding the clay of what will yet appear before your eyes. You see, the magician doesn't create out of nothing. He manipulates the invisible until it becomes visible. That's how your brain works. When you imagine, you're manipulating possibilities. You take the future and rehearse it in the present. And the more natural it becomes within you, the more inevitable it becomes outside. Imagination isn't just an escape. It's the dress rehearsal for the life you're about to live. Think about athletes. Before a competition, they see themselves running, jumping, winning. Their body reacts as if it were real. Their muscles prepare, their breathing changes. They're not daydreaming, they're programming victory. If that works for the physical body, why wouldn't it work for your life? The brain isn't a spectator, it's a director. It needs a script, and you're the one who writes that script. Now tell me, what is the script you've given your brain? Is it the script of defeat, of lack, of waiting? Or is it the script of abundance, of luck, of divine favor? Because the magician within you doesn't morally choose between good or evil. He just executes. If you give him a drama of scarcity, he produces misery. If you give him an epic of conquest, he produces victory. And here's the point. You don't need external proof to imagine. You need to imagine and then see the proof. That's the transformative investment. Don't wait for a miracle to start believing. Use your imagination like someone who already possesses it. Walk through the halls of your mind, smelling, touching, and feeling what you desire. Because the moment it becomes natural to you on the inside, the outside world will have no choice but to bow down. So remember, your brain is a magician, but it doesn't create tricks on its own. It obeys what you repeat, what you feel, what you silently nurture. Conscious imagination is the key. What you dare to rehearse today will be the play the universe will put on tomorrow. It's not fantasy, it's law. It's not illusion, it's creation. The question that remains is, what show are you asking life to put on? Doesn't money like being chased? The more you chase it, the more it slips away. It's like trying to hold water with your hands closed. The more you squeeze, the more you lose. That's because money isn't just paper. It's not just a number in an account. It's energy. It's frequency. And all energy responds to the internal state of the person who attracts or rejects it. Many people live with a sense of scarcity. They count every penny, complain about bills, and talk more about what's missing than what's left. And the universe responds, multiplying that same sense of lack. Because whoever vibrates in lack attracts lack. Have you noticed that there are people who seem to have a constant flow? Not because they work harder, but because they carry a silent confidence that there will always be more. Money likes to be treated like a welcome guest. It thrives on an atmosphere of trust, not despair. Those who fear losing, lose. Those who are grateful for having, receive more. The frequency of wealth is not found in bank accounts, but in the heart of those who believe that prosperity is natural. That's why some, even with little, seem to live in abundance, while others, with much, live in constant fear. If you want to attract wealth, start by adjusting your internal dial. Like a radio station, you can't tune into abundance while vibrating in scarcity. You need to change the frequency. And the most powerful way to do this is through gratitude. When you are grateful for the little, you make room for the much. When you recognize every resource as sufficient, life understands that it can rely on you even more. Observe how you talk about money. Your words are magnets. When you say, "It's difficult," "It's not enough," "There's never enough," you reinforce the station of scarcity. But when you say, "Money always comes," "Life supports me," "There is abundance in my path," you begin to align with another station. And life, as always, responds to the frequency you maintain, not to the desire you hide. And I want you to understand something. Wealth isn't just money. It's peace, it's time, it's health, it's freedom. When you expand your consciousness to see wealth in all areas, money becomes just another reflection. And the less you idolize it, the more it flows. Money doesn't want to be worshipped or despised. It wants to be honored. It's a servant, not a master. So, change the way you treat it. When paying a bill, don't curse, give thanks. When receiving, don't fear losing, celebrate. When investing, don't hesitate with fear. Trust. The energy you put into each transaction is the same energy that returns. Money is movement. It is circulation. The more you hold it back out of fear, the more it escapes. The more you consciously let it flow, the more it returns multiplied. Wealth is a frequency, and you have the choice of which season you will inhabit. If you remain tuned to scarcity, you will continue to live in pursuit. But if you tune into abundance, you will begin to see doors open effortlessly. Life never takes a wrong turn. Send prosperity to those who vibrate prosperity. The question that remains is, which season have you chosen to live in? Do most people only express gratitude after receiving it? They express gratitude when they receive a gift, when they close a deal, when something goes well. But true gratitude isn't a reaction, it's creation. True gratitude happens before there's external proof. It's that thank you in advance that opens invisible doors and sets life moving in your favor. When you give thanks for what you don't yet see, you are declaring trust. You are telling the universe, "I already know it's mine." That attitude is like sealing a spiritual contract. You don't beg, you confirm. You don't plead, you assume. And in that instant, your energy shifts. Anxiety dissolves, fear loses its hold, and a silent certainty takes hold of you. Gratitude is the language of faith. It's the sound the universe understands as a signal of preparation. When you give thanks in advance, you're not deceiving yourself, you're aligning yourself. You're tuning your heart to the frequency of what you desire, and since life always responds to the state you maintain, the response becomes inevitable. Gratitude is more powerful than desire because it is born from certainty. But why is it so difficult to give thanks first? Because the mind learned to react, not to create. It was trained to wait for the test and then believe. Only the spiritual law works the other way around. First you believe, then the test comes. It's like planting a seed. You thank the tree before you see the sprout, because you know that life does its bidding. I want you to start practicing this today. When you wake up, be thankful for solutions that have yet to arrive. When you go to bed, be thankful for victories you haven't yet seen. Be thankful for the job you want, for the love you seek, for the peace you long for. Not as one who begs, but as one who has already received. The secret is not in time, but in certainty. Gratitude is like a magnet. The more you practice it, the more reasons you find to keep practicing. It creates a virtuous cycle. First, you give thanks for the invisible. Then, the invisible becomes visible. And then you give thanks again, but now with proof. Life understands the message and sends more. It's a continuous flow that cannot be interrupted. And remember, it's not just about words. Gratitude isn't just about words, it's about being in the state. It's about looking at a closed door and saying, "Thank you, because I know a bigger one is about to open." It's about facing silence and saying, "Thank you, because I know the answer is already on its way." It's about living as someone who has already received, even if your eyes don't yet confirm it. Whoever masters gratitude masters life, because they understand that everything that exists is already available in the invisible, waiting only to be acknowledged. To be grateful is to acknowledge, and what you acknowledge manifests. Therefore, don't wait for a miracle to give thanks. Be grateful, and the miracle will come. That is the law. That is strength. That is the power that transforms. Have you noticed how doubt never comes screaming, but always whispering? It creeps in, like a shadow infiltrating your thoughts. You take a step of faith, you feel strong, and suddenly the voice appears. What if it doesn't work? What if you're fooling yourself? That voice is treacherous because it disguises itself as reason. But in reality, it's the thief trying to steal your alignment. Doubt is like an invisible leak in a bucket. No matter how much faith you put into it, if the hole isn't plugged, everything drains away. That's why so many people start out motivated, but give up halfway through. Not because the law doesn't work, but because doubt has eaten away at them from within. The universe doesn't respond to what you ask for with your mouth, but to what you hold in your heart. And how do you silence that voice? You don't defeat it by fighting. The more you fight, the more strength you give it. Doubt feeds on your attention. So, when it appears, don't enter into debate. Respond with a simple and firm certainty. It is done. Say it as many times as necessary. Transform that phrase into a sword. Every time doubt tries to prick you, cut the root with the blade of faith. Doubt will always use appearances against you. It will point out the empty account, the closed door, the silent phone. It will want to prove you wrong. But understand, what you see outside is only a reflection of old internal states. Doubt is an echo of the past trying to hold the future prisoner. If you give up, you return to the old cycle. Therefore, learn to look at appearances without bowing to them. Yes, the account may be negative. Yes, the answer hasn't arrived yet. But that's not a judgment, it's an old photograph. You don't need to live off past portraits. What counts is the film being projected inside you right now. The world will update itself, but only if you don't stop in the middle of the process. Remember, doubt isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign that you're moving forward. He who doesn't attempt anything doesn't doubt anything, only he who dares doubts. So, instead of blaming yourself for doubting, use it as confirmation that you're headed in the right direction. The old mind is resisting because it senses a new reality is about to be born. And here's the key. Faith isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision not to be guided by it. Doubt knocks on the door, but you choose not to open it. It speaks, but you don't answer. You keep walking as if it's already done. Doubt asks, "What if you fail?" And you answer, "What if it works?" Turn the question into fuel. Never forget, doubt only has the power you give it. Without your attention, it dissolves like fog in the sun. The secret is to remain steadfast, repeating to yourself, "It is done. I am. I have." Life respects those who persevere. And the universe always delivers to the heart that persists in believing, even when the mind trembles. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "Life is unfair to me"? That phrase seems innocent, but it's a prison sentence. Because when you place yourself as a victim, you hand over the steering wheel of your life to something or someone outside of yourself. And I tell you, there is no greater prison than believing that your story depends on the goodwill of the world. Being a victim is comfortable at first. It's easy to point the finger and blame the economy, the government, your parents, your past, or luck. But that false comfort zone exacts a steep price. Powerlessness. You remain paralyzed, waiting for a rescue that never comes. Because no one is going to write the chapter of your life for you. Only you hold the pen. And here's the twist. When you understand that you are not a victim, but a perpetrator, the game changes. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop saying, "I don't have a choice," and start saying, "I always have a choice." That simple shift in internal position is like changing scenery. You leave the audience, where you just watch, and step onto the stage, where you perform. But don't be fooled. Assuming the role of author doesn't mean everything will be easy. It only means that you accept responsibility. And responsibility is power. Because when you say, "If life is this way, it's because I accepted it that way," you also recognize, "I can change it." That is the greatest gift that awareness can give someone. The victim role will always knock on your door. The mind loves the drama of being unlucky, forgotten, or not enough. But if you pay attention to it, you're feeding the wrong character. And life, like a mirror, reflects exactly that script. Not because it's cruel, but because it's only playing the role you wrote. So today I say to you, stop rehearsing tragedy. Write an epic. Instead of repeating, "I never make it," start affirming, "Everything conspires in my favor." Change. No one supports me too. I am sustained by life. Change isn't magical, but it's inevitable. Because when you change the internal script, external reality must follow suit. Think carefully. When you see someone who always seems to thrive, it's not because the world gives them special privileges. It's because that person decided not to live as a victim. They embraced the idea of being a creator. And that decision is more powerful than any diploma, inherited fortune, or apparent luck. It's the root of all real transformation. You are not a plaything of fate. You are fate writing itself now. The pen is in your hand, and every thought is a word in your book. The question is, will you continue to write chapters of pain, or will you dare to write chapters of glory? The choice, as always, is yours. That awkward silence between the request and the answer, between prayer and manifestation, that gap is what I call the creative void. Most people hate that space. They think it's a delay. They think it's a sign that it won't work out. But in reality, that void is the cradle where the new reality begins to take shape. Emptiness is like the earth after a seed has been planted. You don't see anything on the surface, but beneath the soil, life is moving. Roots are sprouting. The structure is forming. The mistake is digging up the seed to see if it's growing. That's what doubt does. It digs and destroys the process. The wise understand. The invisible works in silence. In that interval, your only task is to remain aligned. Emptiness doesn't require effort. It requires trust. It's a time to stop chasing the result, but to rest in it. When you understand this, emptiness ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally. It's not a waste of time, it's preparation. It's the deep breath before the big word. The problem is that many people confuse silence with abandonment. They believe that because they don't see movement, there is no movement. But I ask you, do you need to see electricity running through wires to believe it exists? Do you need to see the air to believe it sustains your life? The same goes for a vacuum. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It is in this space of apparent inactivity that your faith is truly tested. It's easy to believe when you already have proof. The challenge is to believe when everything seems to stand still. But that's where you grow stronger, because those who endure the void discover that silence is not the absence of response, but the invisible presence of creation. Learn to use emptiness to your advantage. Instead of complaining, be grateful. Instead of despairing, contemplate. Instead of speeding up, slow down. Emptiness is an invitation to align yourself even more with your new identity. It is in silence that you fine-tune your instrument so that the music of life plays in perfect harmony. Those who understand emptiness don't fear delays because they know that even time conspires in their favor. They don't fear closed doors because they know that behind them lies preparation. Emptiness is an invisible bridge. As you walk across it, you may not see the other side, but each step brings you closer to manifestation. So the next time you feel like nothing is happening, smile, because that's the sign that everything is happening. Emptiness isn't failure, it's transition. It's the womb of creation. If you remain faithful during that silence, when the answer comes, it will arrive like a flooding river. And you'll understand that nothing was still. Everything was forming. Have you ever experienced that moment when you're thinking about someone and the phone rings? Or you're talking about a topic and suddenly a book, a song, a phrase appears with the exact same message? That's not a coincidence. That's synchronicity. It's the universe's way of saying, I heard you. They are echoes of your internal state reflected in the external world. Life is always responding, but few know how to interpret its language. Because it doesn't speak in Portuguese, English, or Spanish. It speaks in signs, it speaks in unexpected encounters, in doors that suddenly open, in words that arrive at just the right moment. The universe responds like a silent friend, offering clues along the way. The problem is that many people ignore the signs because they expect a miracle in neon lights flashing in the sky. No, the answer is almost never thunderous. It's subtle. It comes in an invitation, in a small opportunity, in a detail. Those who aren't attentive miss it. But those who have learned to read life see in the small things the confirmation that they're in the right flow. Do you know what's most beautiful? These signs don't appear randomly. They appear because your consciousness attracts them. Your energy is like a magnet that selects what will appear before you. That's why, when you change internally, the external signs also change. It's not magic, it's a reflex. It's the law in action. Synchronicities work like invisible arrows pointing in the right direction. When you decide to live in alignment, life begins to weave together encounters and situations that seem planned. But they weren't planned by the world. They were orchestrated by your inner assumption. The entire universe conspires to confirm the new identity you've assumed. What I want you to understand is that signs are invitations, not guarantees. They don't replace your faith. They strengthen it. When you see synchronicity, it's not time to doubt. It's time to trust even more. It's as if life is telling you, continue, you're on the right path. Each sign is a reminder that the seed is germinating. And here's the key. The more you recognize the signs, the more they multiply. Because attention is energy. When you give value, you expand. It's as if the universe were saying, "Oh, you got the message, so I'm sending you more." And suddenly your life becomes a constant dialogue with the invisible. You never feel alone again. So, stay tuned. Life is always speaking. The answers you seek are already there, disguised in details. The universe never fails to respond. It's you who needs to learn to listen. And when you listen, you discover that there is no such thing as chance, no such thing as blind luck. There is alignment, there is reflection, there is living proof that reality always converses with those who dare to believe. Isn't it what you desire from time to time that shapes your life, but what you consistently believe? That's your dominant state of consciousness. It's like the background music playing in your mind all the time. Even when you're not paying attention to it, it's there, creating the atmosphere to which the universe responds. Many try to change their lives by repeating affirmations for a few minutes, but they spend the rest of the day immersed in fear, doubt, and scarcity. And then they wonder, why isn't anything happening? I tell you, because the universe doesn't listen to your occasional words. It listens to your dominant vibration. It's not what you say, it's what you are in silence. The gift of self-knowledge is precisely perceiving what music you have allowed to play within you. Do you walk through the world with the sound of abundance or the melody of lack? Do you vibrate with confidence or distrust? That internal state, repeated day after day, is the invisible master who directs the events of your life. And here's the good news. You can change the tune at any time. You don't need a degree, you don't need permission, you don't need to wait for circumstances to change. Just start observing your internal conversation and reprogram it. Every time you notice thoughts of scarcity, replace them with thoughts of abundance. Every time you feel fear, replace it with confidence. Self-awareness isn't just about understanding yourself intellectually. It's about observing yourself in real time. It's about noticing what you feel when you look at your bank account, when you receive criticism, when you face a challenge. Those moments reveal the truth about your dominant state. And that's where you have the power to change the internal script before it becomes external reality. The world doesn't respond to who you would like to be. It responds to who you consistently are. And who you are is built on repetition. Every day you choose to sustain the frequency of "I am favored," that truth strengthens until it becomes second nature. And when something becomes second nature, it inevitably manifests. That's why spiritual discipline is so important. It's not enough to have glimpses of faith. It's necessary to consolidate a state of faith. It's not enough to feel gratitude once. It's necessary to live in gratitude like breathing. Because the universe is faithful to what you hold as normal. If abundance becomes your normal, abundance becomes inevitable. So I ask you, what is your dominant state right now? If it were measured not by your words, but by what you truly feel deep inside, what would the scale show? If it's fear, you can change. If it's scarcity, you can change. The key is to take charge and consciously choose the inner atmosphere you wish to live in. That is the true gift of self-knowledge. You know exactly where you are now. You feel it in your body, you see it in your bank account, you perceive it in your relationships. But you also carry within you a vision of where you would like to be. This distance between reality and desire is fertile ground for manifestation. What separates the two is not time, nor luck, nor circumstances. It is solely a state of consciousness. The first step is clarity. You can't reach a destination you can't describe. So ask yourself, what do you truly desire to experience? Not what you were taught to desire, but what your soul knows is meant for you. Write it down, visualize it, feel it. Define the final scene in detail as if it were already happening. The second step is assuming. Once you have the vision, you need to enter it now. Don't wait for conditions to change. Don't wait for external signs. Begin to feel like someone already living the outcome. Ask yourself, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I act if I were already there? That is the practice of living in the end. The third step is consistency. It's no use visiting the desired state once in a while and spending the rest of the time in contradiction. Manifestation doesn't respond to flashes, but to dominant states. So keep your mind steady. Repeat, return, and align as many times as necessary. Make this state your inner home. The fourth step is trust. You don't need to know how everything will align. The path is built as you walk. The creative void we spoke of earlier is precisely the bridge between here and there. Your role is not to build each brick of that bridge, but to cross it with faith, remaining in the state of one who has already arrived. The fifth step is anticipatory gratitude. Don't wait for reality to transform before giving thanks. Give thanks now. Gratitude is the invisible seal that confirms to the universe, I have received. It's the signature on the spiritual contract. The more you give thanks in advance, the faster external reality bows to your internal state. The sixth step is to recognize the signs. As you walk, life will give you confirmations. Small synchronicities, unlikely encounters, doors that open. Don't doubt them. See each sign as proof that you're moving forward. Those echoes are the universe telling you, keep going, you're doing well. And finally, the seventh step, embrace the new identity. It's not about having something, it's about being someone. When you become the version of yourself that already lives what you desire, the world has no choice but to reflect it. Because life doesn't bring what you want, it brings what you are. So assume now, you are the luckiest, most blessed, most abundant person who ever lived, and watch the universe bow to that certainty. And if you've made it this far, it's because this message was meant to find you. So subscribe to the channel to continue receiving new awakening content. And tell me in the comments, have you had contact with this type of knowledge before, or is this the first time you felt this calling?